On April 29th, 2021, the San Francisco Niners, after trading up to the third overall pick in the NFL draft, selected Trey Lance, quarterback from North Dakota State. Trey Lance was a quarterback with not a lot of playing time. He started a total of 17 games at North Dakota State in his true sophomore year, before then only playing, I believe, one game in his true junior year because of COVID. Enters the draft. He attempted 25 plus passes twice in his career at North Dakota State. He averaged 16 attempts a game before that. He was known as a project quarterback who didn't have a lot of experience playing the game of football at all. He started 17 games in college, and he was a guy that we knew would need a lot of snaps in the NFL, and a guy that has insane arm talent, and as a runner, he's special with the ball in his hands. He's like a running back, but he needed reps. He didn't throw picks and was athletic, but he needed work on accuracy. And although reports were that he was really smart and did well in interviews, he still needed time to play the game and process football. So that gets me to where now we know who Trey Lance was as a project. So why did the Niners take him? The Niners at the time were a team who had missed the playoffs after having a little successful run. They have Jimmy Garoppolo in there, and they're a team that has tons of talent, and they are ready to win a Super Bowl. They are in a Super Bowl window at this time, and they made the decision to go get a quarterback, which, if you're not a fan of Jimmy Garoppolo, that isn't a bad decision. But why did you take Trey Lance, the biggest project in that entire quarterback class? We knew you're going to have to go through growing pains with Trey Lance. We knew that. That's why he was there, because he has this immense upside, but he needs to play the game of football, and he might not be successful at first, but he needs time to grow and get snaps. So why did you take him in the middle of a Super Bowl window when you had a dude like Mac Jones, who you knew you could plug in and be good now? The plan with Trey Lance was to have him sit for a year in behind Jimmy G and then take over the next year. The plan was going accordingly. They play with Jimmy Garoppolo for a year. Trey Lance comes on the next year. He has some good reports coming out of camp. He's ready to start the season. He plays one game in a complete monsoon weather in Chicago, which I can't even hold against. That game was a mess. And then he comes out next week against Seattle and fractures his ankle, ends up missing the whole rest of the season. He is now at his career start, I believe, 4 games in the NFL, and that's it. So a guy coming out of college who hasn't played a lot, has gotten 4 games to play in his first 3 years, and we're going to look at him like, hey, this dude has been a failure for 3 years now. Trey Lance has played a total of 262 snaps at quarterback in the NFL. That's 102 pass attempts in those 262 snaps. Tom Brady, at the age of 45 years old last year, threw 733 pass attempts. At 45 years old, Trey Lance has had 102 pass attempts in his NFL career. They drafted him for 3 first-round picks they gave up to give him 4 games to prove himself on a Super Bowl contending team, one a monsoon and one where he gets hurt after 2 series, and now you're ready to give up on this guy? You draft a project, but you don't give him time to be a project. And now they're announcing Sam Darnold's the backup, and they're ready to move on from him because he hasn't shown enough. This is where I just can't wrap my head around the 49ers process and why people can be mad at Trey Lance, but it's not Trey Lance's fault. We knew what Trey Lance was coming out of college. No one was saying Trey Lance is this NFL ready, day one gonna step in. We knew he was a project, and the Niners still took him, weren't willing to give him time for this project, and now he's going to be on his way to another team on 3rd string. This dude cannot just sit on the bench and get better. He's a dude that hasn't played football. He needs to play football and get meaningful reps. You can see even in his last game, preseason game he played against the Broncos, he started off a little shaky and then really started coming on more at the end of the game because that dude just needs to get more feel for the game of football. But the 49ers aren't going to give him that. And that, if you're not going to give him that chance, then I don't know why you drafted him. He needed to go to a place like Zach Wilson did with the Jets where they're willing to start him, give him time to play, because a lot of these quarterbacks need opportunities and grow. I mean, you've seen you're saying hey, this dude just hasn't shown it. He has not even gotten the opportunity. Some other guys who have been kind of noted as quarterback failures in the last couple of years, Zach Wilson got 22 starts before getting benched. Darnold, 38 just on the Jets. Trubisky, 41 for the Bears. Desmond Ridder has already started the same amount of games as Trey Lance has. And we're saying this dude's already a bust. We haven't seen Trey Lance and given him the opportunity. And now, this is worst case scenario for him. If he just sits on the 49ers bench as a third string, he's not going to play any more football. He can't just sit on the bench and keep getting better. He needs to play football. Whether that's getting traded to another team, whether he needs to go to the XFL, Canadian Football League, whatever, USFL, whatever this dude needs to do to play meaningful football is what he needs. He's not going to get better just sitting on the bench. But yet they want to go watch Sam Darnold throw 5 picks, and that's their choice, what they want to do. But I just hate seeing a dude like Trey Lance where the media starts piling on him when we need to take a step back and realize Trey Lance has never pretended to be this ready quarterback. He didn't draft himself 3rd overall. He has been who he's been the whole time, and I think, in my opinion, Kyle Shanahan and the San Francisco 49ers and their process has failed Trey Lance. And I think he needs to leave San Francisco and get a chance to either play or at least have a good vision of how he can play. Because even if he sits 3rd string on the Niners, even if like Sam Darnold leaves, he's still 2nd string behind Brock Purdy. It's not like there's a room for a starting gig because we already know he also just doesn't fit their system. That's something I haven't even mentioned. It's just that I don't know why they drafted him. Their system plays best with quarterbacks with really good accuracy and quick decision making. That was not Trey Lance. Trey Lance was a dude you want to build a system around running, like a Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, Justin Fields. You build a system of running the ball, quick rollouts, get him on the move, RPOs. That's the kind of stuff you want to run. And Kyle Shanahan was trying to put him in this pro-style offense. I know he ran some run plays, but he just doesn't fit the offense. So I think he needs to go somewhere where he can get meaningful reps or at least be a backup with a shot for the field and a guy who can help him and build an offense around him. A couple places I thought were if he has a place to get reps this year, the Bucks, I think he could start over Baker Mayfield week 1. The Cardinals, if they want to give him a year-long shot while Kyler Murray's hurt, that's another place. The Raiders, he could go back to Jimmy G. That's not my favorite one, but it is a place where he could probably get playing time. Those are the main ones for playing time. And then if you're another opportunity for him could be at least where he is the clear backup with a quarterback who's not necessarily set as like a franchise quarterback, where he sees a path to the field. That is the Detroit Lions, the Minnesota Vikings, the Los Angeles Rams is another one that I really like. I like the Rams have him. We've already kind of seen Matt Stafford's floated with retirement. Put him on the Rams there, back up for like a year, and then it's his job, and he maybe gets some good reps, especially with Stafford's shaky injury history. And then the other one I thought that could be interesting was the Falcons. Depends on how strong they really feel about Desmond Ridder, but Falcons is another place where he could get reps day one. Put him in where he has weapons like Bijan, Drake London, Kyle Pitts. Build an offense around the run game and his strengths. I think he could really do well there, but he needs a place to play. And the last place I'm going to mention out, I know a lot of people are going to be upset with, is the Denver Broncos. Let's be honest, if Russell Wilson ain't the answer, maybe Trey Lance. If Russell Wilson starts struggling, you at least got a young upside. But I just hate to see Trey Lance's career go like this because I think everything has gone wrong for him. Injuries have been a huge part of what the slide, but I also think the 49ers have just as much, if not more, blame on them than Trey Lance. And I hate seeing him just get slandered in the media because it's all Trey Lance this, Trey Lance that. How about we take a step back and look at the 49ers and how they were a big reason in Trey Lance's failure in San Francisco up to now. He's a 23-year-old quarterback, played 4 games in the NFL after being the 3rd overall pick, and everyone's ready to give up on him. Yet guys like Baker Mayfield, Mitch Trubisky, Sam Darnold, these guys get hundreds of chances, not hundreds, but tons of chances to prove themselves, yet we're ready to give up on Trey Lance already as a media and as the NFL. We're ready to give up on this guy already.